Okay, everybody, welcome to our 15-minute briefing. Give you a sense of what's going on here. Our intentions with these briefings that we've been doing since 5 years now, expanding around the country, is to introduce ourselves, explain what we do, share the vision of what's been created and continues to expand around the country, and you're here to determine if it's going to benefit you or not. Okay. The process you just began by joining us here on this 15-minute briefing is really three parts. The 15-minute briefing is just to get you enough information to see if you're interested or not. The next step in this would be the national intro meeting, which is way more detailed and even a little bit of training on what we do. And then the last step in the process is a follow-up Q&A where you're going to get your questions answered. Now, these two exposures here, the 15-minute briefing and the national intro meeting, are actually designed to get your questions developed so that we can take care of those questions by the end of the week and know if you're going to be starting with us next week or not. Okay. Now, the individuals that are joining me here, you can see their pictures on the left-hand side. These are folks that are from around the country. We're building this thing together around the country. We currently have approximately 20 buildings around the country, plus more markets out there that don't even have buildings. They're just in rental situations, contracted rental situations, building real estate investing communities. There's two types of people on the line with us today. Most of the folks that join us on through this candidate process are joining us because they're interested in real estate investing. We're talking, fix and flip and short sales and buy and hold and notes and tax liens. A few of the folks on the line with us today are actually just looking to make money starting this week. They may have answered an ad looking for some type of work or opportunity. Some of our ads are work from home. So we're going to be explaining both of those components today. I'm going to pass it over to the first guy you see up there on the top left. I got a lot of respect for him. I just got put into an advisory position with our company about 5 months ago. The amazing thing is he's only 27 years old. Started when he was 22. He was working at Jiffy Lube, and today he's 27. So I'll hand it over to Michael Huggins.
All right, thanks, Scott. So I love this community. I love real estate investing because it absolutely changed my life. You can see some of these pictures here. I've got to spend a lot of time with real estate investors, business owners, and really changed the way I looked at what my potential was and how much money I could make. So you can see I got a picture right there of me and my fiance. 5 years ago, we were struggling like crazy to pay our bills. I had just graduated college. We had a bunch of student loan debt, and I couldn't keep up with it. We were falling behind month after month, and I was looking for some type of financial education because I was working 2 minimum wage jobs, and so broke that I ended up moving into my girlfriend's mom's basement, right? Just because I needed to. I couldn't pay all the bills, and so as I was looking around, hey, how do I get out of this basement? I got a college degree, I got all this debt, and the plan I'm on is not working for me. It is embarrassing, and so I answered an ad. I met some real estate investors who showed me the #1 rated real estate investing education. This platform here, I started taking classes on fix and flips, on buy and holds, and started learning how to make more in less time. Before finding this opportunity, I was riding my bike to work every single day. It wasn't even my bike, it was my little brother's bike. That's how broke I was. And I wanted to make a huge change. And so after becoming a part of this group, things started changing. I started making more money. In my first year, we did 2 short sale fix and flips, and we made more money on those 2 deals than I did at my job. So I was able to quit, walk away from those jobs, and start taking control of my time, start taking control of my income. These are some of the deals that we're working on. This one up here in the top left is the very first deal that we did. Made $21,000 on that deal, where at Jiffy Lube I earned $22,000 for the whole year of back-breaking work. Some of these other fix and flips and wholesale deals we've done, also working on some land development stuff. It is really exciting. And now I get the opportunity to take the knowledge that I've attained and the team that I've been able to build and work all over the country. The company here has also provided a great income opportunity for me. So you can see that right there on the page, just working part-time on the referral process. I made over $500,000 on that. And just in the last 9 weeks, I made $86,000. complete turnaround from what I used to be working at Jiffy Lube, getting under cars, getting covered in oil. It was a night and day change. So just last month, another $46,000. So with this opportunity, I went from making $20,000 a year to now we're making $40,000 a month. It is incredible what's been happening for me. $10,000 a week is the new average. So we're now opening up offices all over the country. There's many people that, just like me, were struggling and wanted to make more out of life, wanted to get more control with their finances, and really get into real estate. That's the best way to create wealth. So you can see offices. Here we got some in Salt Lake and in Scottsdale and in Seattle, all over the place. And one thing I'd really like to do is shout out to John, who's going to be the next guy to quickly share. He was just one of the guys that was in a room a couple years ago saying, hey, I want to make that change too. And he's done some phenomenal things in the first 2 years working with us, combined with the real estate and the marketing side. He's made almost $400,000. And it's incredible what happens from these rooms and information that's shared over. So I am going to kick it now over to John.
Hey, great, thanks. Guys, my name is John. This is my beautiful wife, Christina. We've got 4 kids, and we were living our dream. We moved out to Hawaii in our 20s, started raising a family, and life was good. And then we lost everything in 2008 and found ourselves moving back here to Utah, living with family. It was a tough time. We had to recover, and I didn't have a degree to fall back on. So I found myself in construction, which is what I've done since I was 13, roofing on other people's houses. It was really difficult, and I was looking for a better way. I found that with this system about 3.5 years ago, was introduced to it by Michael, who you heard from, and have been mentored in it by Scott, who's going to take you through the rest of this information. What it's done for me is it has changed my life in every way. I'm privileged to be a part of this system that you're checking out, and I want to show you some of what it's done for me. I've been able to now flip 11 homes. My wife and I own 4 rentals, and we have averaged close to $40,000 profit on each of those homes that we flipped. And that was a huge difference in my life. That was close to what I made in a year. We keep moving forward, doing more and more, helping more and more people. With those homes, these are the kind of checks we're beginning to make. This is a check I just closed on last week for $82,000 net profit on a single flip. And this is the income that this system pays me. This is the last 9 weeks of income, and total for 2.5 years of work is $427,000. So it's growing, it's getting bigger and bigger. And with that message, it's impacted me, and I live to impact others, including yourself. So we're growing this community around the country, just like Michael has said, and Scott is going to introduce you to. You're welcome to be a part of that. We've got rooms here in Salt Lake City, where I'm based out of, Scottsdale, Honolulu. I love going to Hawaii. I'll be there next week. And life is great. So make sure you take good notes with what Scott has to share with you. I've learned a tremendous amount from this man. I'm not the only one out there crushing it in this business. We are a nationwide company, and I'm privileged to kick it back over to Scott as he introduces what you're going to learn about right now on this webinar. Thanks, Scott.
Okay, so there you heard from 2 of the fastest growing individuals in the country doing some great things. Let me explain exactly how this all worked and why we found talent like that. The 2 components that we're here to talk about is the real estate investing side, and then we have a component where the expansion, we're getting paid to do the expansion as well. You saw some of their money. When I came in, I was broken unemployed. I was making $212,000 a year as a vice president for a company. I lost that. Could not find another company willing to give me $200,000, so I needed to redirect my focus. Met a real estate investor who had 92 properties paying him rent. He was making $24,000 a month and was worth $2.5 million. And I thought to myself, well, that's my next step. So I wanted to get into real estate investing, but real estate investing is very risky. You should not fly a plane. You should not pick up a scalpel. You should not throw your kids in the deep end of the pool unless there's knowledge behind all that. And education is important if you're going to do things the right way. My wife and I were so good at real estate that we actually lost our own retail residence. So we knew that we needed to learn. Michael showed you the #1 rated real estate investing education company in the country we all work with. We started taking classes on wholesaling, started making money on wholesales while we were taking classes on fix and flip, started making money on fix and flips while we were taking classes on buy and hold, started executing buy and holds while we were taking classes on lending. And the ironic thing about my wife and I, within 2 years of losing our own ability to pay for our own property, we were able to create notes. We knew exactly how to create notes on properties that were being leased by us. So effectively, we were the bank. And all of that happened simply because of the education, application of the education, and then the support systems of this team that's growing around the country. You keep seeing those pictures. So they wrapped their arms around us. Our professionals came from the group. The resources, even the financial resources, came from the group. If I ever needed a mentor, they were only a text away. So it was a fantastic experience for us. And there's no doubt why these guys were rated A+ with the BBB. So. The other component here that we're here to talk about is the expansion component. If you are here on the line today looking for some type of work or opportunity to make money working from home, we do have a licensing agreement with that education company. They pay us 50% of gross tuitions with an additional 15% in overrides for expanding around the country. Now, you saw Michael and John's money. It's pretty significant. You saw Michael making over $40,000 in the last month. That was on this. Okay, so all three of us, we're smart enough to say, okay, you know what? If it's available, let's take advantage of it. So we are looking for more team to add to that. So the real question here is, there's two components. Which one would you like to take advantage of? The first component is we do get paid to create students, and we get paid tremendously well. You've already seen the money that you can make doing that. Once we create the student, we move the student through the systems, the educational systems and support systems, to the point where they're actually ready to do real estate, and then we make even more money doing real estate. So the national group that is hosting this webinar right now is expanding around the country. You're experiencing that expansion by joining us here on this webinar. So congratulations for that. Let's talk about the expansion for a second. We are constantly recruiting more teammates to grow. The teammates that we have literally are the support systems to the recruiting and the students. So as we take on more students for real estate investing, we need more team members who are handling the infrastructure. Okay, so those team members act as a recruiting workforce, helping us enroll freshman level folks. Those freshman level folks, within 3 to 6 months of actual class time, should be controlling real estate. In my case, it was 3 months. I was using my sweat equity because I had no money. I was moving those deals to senior level investors that I was partnered up with here in this group. I was actually making money because they were ready to do the deals that I was finding and putting under contract. Eventually, I became well-rounded. I did my first flip, created my first rental, took care of my first note, established that. And it's the same process. So all we're doing is duplicating the same process that myself and Michael and John have already gone down to help anybody else that's on this webinar. So what it really comes down to is capital. Most of us think that we need a job to derive capital, and then we take whatever's left over, we hand it to a financial planner to get us a 3% volatile return. This is atrocious. A lot of the folks that work with us, and you saw the numbers from the two young men here on the line today, a lot of the folks that start with us are capable of making 6 figures their first year. They start paying 2/3 less taxes than they're used to paying, and they start getting double-digit returns on their retirement plans. And this is not something that we're speculating. It's not something that we're planning on doing. It's already being executed around the country. The question is, does this sound good enough for you to get into that next step to get to one of our national intro meetings? Okay. All right. Last slide. So why are you here today? Are you here because you're looking for work, or are you here because you're looking to get into real estate investing? Now, I wanted to get into real estate investing, but the truth of the matter was I had no income coming in. So thank God these guys had some work available for me to do. I have a tremendous sales background. I was designing marketing campaigns from my home office. I got paid $159,000 my first year for doing that, which literally saved my family's life. After somebody was answering those ads, we do have appointment setters who are merely contacting folks and putting people in front of public speakers. Some of those appointment setters are making $50,000. Some of them make $100,000. We do want to pause here for a second. If you are not able to work from home, if you're not motivated enough to do that or can't handle that, let me give you an example. If you think that you need a boss looking looking over your shoulder, or you need somebody cracking whip over your head, this is not going to be for you. We're going to put a lot of time, effort, and financial resources into training you up. And if you knew that you couldn't handle it, you're just wasting everybody's time. So we'd appreciate if you bow out of the systems right now before you move forward. But those of you that like the idea of not having to fight traffic and can handle independent work, then keep moving forward. Once an appointment setter is done appointment setting, they put them in front of public speakers. That's what myself and John and Mike are doing today. Some of us are making $250,000 a year. I'll show you my numbers in just a second to back that up. Once the public speaker is done, then the customer service kicks in to answer questions. We have managers managing teams and buildings around the country. But this workforce has one job and one job only, including us three that are on the line today. This is our job today. Get us more students, period. The more freshman level folks that we have who are testing out of wholesaling, testing out of fix and flip, testing out of buy and hold, actually become assets to the group. Those assets make very viable rookies to assist the senior level investors in doing what they're doing. So in my case, I was putting properties under contract and moving to the senior level investors. Those senior level investors were actually doing the deals, but everybody made money in the process. That is expanding around the country right now. It's why you're on this webinar with us. And let me just end this thing with a couple of the results that happened because of it. Hang on a second. Let me just delete this. Always leave the room the way you found it, right? Mom always taught me that. Okay, let me give you some examples why this worked and how it's worked so well. Scotty Minsky, when he came to us, was a union carpenter out of work. He was not making any money, struggling over that. He knew he could do the work, except the union didn't have any jobs for him. So literally came down to our office, said, I can put the tool belt on, and we showed him how to pay himself working on his own project. So in the 4 months he worked on this project, he paid himself $22,000 in the 4 months for work. Then at closing, got an extra $133,000 in profit on that deal. The deal was good enough that he presented it in the executive summary to people in our group. They helped him fund it, and he got the deal done. Since then, about 4.5 years ago, they've now got 41 rental properties. 32 of those rental properties are dedicated to homeless veterans, so doing some really, really great work and benefiting everybody. Okay, second example on here is actually somebody that wasn't looking for real estate investing, just looking for extra money for work. This is Justin Kane. When I met Justin, he was a 24-year-old band teacher. He was only making $34,000 a year as a band teacher, struggling on that because his wife was an out-of-work English teacher. So they came down for summer work and continued to work with us part-time through the school year. Ended up making $122,000 that first year working with us, which allowed him to quit teaching band and start working on his real estate. Today, these guys have 116 properties that pay them rent. He is just over 30 years old and one of my top senior level investors in the Chicagoland area. So doing some great, great work. Now, if you are on the line today looking for work, we are looking for individuals who can design and maintain ad campaigns, handle communications, assist in live events, handle customer service. Public speaking is at a premium right now as we expand around the country. We do have full-time and part-time opportunities available. Why part-time? Well, when you're a band teacher and you start getting checks like this, you kind of wonder why you were teaching band. That allows you to actually work on fix and flips. And when fix and flips can get you 3 years worth of pay in one deal, you put band teaching in the rearview mirror. I'm going to show you my numbers. The last 5 years, this company's paid me over $1.5 million for doing what I'm doing on the line right now. So for some reason you have people skills, sales management, sales training, retail management, executive management, restaurant management. Those skills translate very well into what we're going to be doing together. So you definitely want to stick with this process to get those questions answered, to follow up to see if this is going to be working for you. Okay. Give you an example of what's really possible. This is actually a girl that we know very well. She's on the advisor board. Her name's Jean. About 5 months ago at our national conference in front of about 1,000 people, her son at 12 years old got up and talked about his retirement plan, invested in that property right there. And one of the proudest moments that I saw in that national conference was the fact that we're actually helping kids have a better future, right, by doing what we're doing here today. My wife and I, we used to wake up and get in traffic every single day. Today, instead of making our bills, we help other people make lives. We are on the advisory board to the Real Estate Investing Education Company. You'll see John, he's back there. He's only 33 years old. And Michael actually joined that board about 5 months ago. He's only 27 years old. You saw the picture of him at 22, and we didn't know where he was going with that, but turned out to be one of our fastest growing real estate investors in the country. So hats off to a millennial that can turn it all around. Okay, the team that's putting on this webinar is the #1 team in the country, so congratulations for being here. It's kind of like joining the Yankees. We've opened up a lot of buildings since we started doing these webinars. Keep in mind that people from Arizona and Utah and New York and California, they don't come to interviews like we always do at traditional jobs. They simply watch the webinar. They made it to the national intro meeting, even if it's online or live. They got to a follow-up, got their questions answered, started working from home, usually for 6 figures. Pretty soon we have enough going on in that area that we can wrap a building around it. And that is really the goal with the folks that are doing this webinar right now for you. Okay, folks, that's it. That's the 15-minute briefing. The next step is the national intro meeting, followed by the Q&A.